Hello, everybody. I'm Bertrand Petit, the head of InnoSearch, which is a business innovation network. So we have been watching usage for the past 10 years to help a manager anticipate the disruption. And at the occasion of the publishing of Zouk by Roger McNamee and its translation into French, it is a good opportunity to try to put some perspective in all this problematic of business model of manipulation. So it came out 2 years ago with Cambridge Analytica, and for a brand, a solid brand like Facebook, it was a big fail, and we'll try to see the impact it has on many other brands which are using Facebook as a supplier in order to target their marketing very precisely and very personalized. So you may remember the first reaction of Mark Zuckerberg when there was some suspicion that the Russian influenced the American election of 2016. He said at the FA conference, it's pretty crazy, and he make everybody laugh. Come on, we could not do that. We are only on the commercial dealing. And then if you go back a few years back in 2012, you had the first incident, so to speak, about too clever targeting on a young teenager. That was a target where a young teenager was pregnant. Maybe she knew it, but she hadn't told her father, and she received a coupon in the inbox from Target with a lot of congratulations and a lot of coupons for the future mother. And the father was completely upset. He come with his gun at Target and say, who told my daughter is pregnant? Doesn't make sense. So at that time, we realized the potential of such technology, and we react, say, yeah, maybe Target should have done better and not send that too early, and so on and so on. But now it's more into the election and the political space that this technology is used. So what is a troll farm as a service? What did Mr. Putin do on the election of 2016? He had established maybe a pool of 100 hackers who have initiated a very strong presence on the network in order to be manipulated on the good day at the proper moment. So troll farm as a service, it's really coming because now in each election you could have the same mechanism being rolled out. So how it works? So as you know, Mr. Kogan worked for Cambridge Analytica, and he ran 270,000 tests where he paid people a few dollars for them to fill a test about the psychology, MTBI, and answering questions, and then he asked them the permission to upload all the social graph. So, and like that, he could say that with 300 I can really know you better than your wife, your spouse. And then measuring those 300 multiplied by 200 friends he could download by downloading the social graph. He had 87 million mainly US profiles perfectly mapped, and which can be used to sell whatever, coupon for pregnancy or paid argument to influence the election. So Trump campaign understood that, saw the potential, bought the service, and here, little by little, they target not the Republican, they target the weak Democrat. They built over the previous 2-3 years a network of digital newspaper, which were with real journalists, but which were asked to give a particular spin to an event, and therefore they could point at the right time, at the right moment, to each individual the article which may pivot the guy and make him stay home the day of the election. And all in all, it was also a way to antagonize the party by animating community on both sides of the issue, and from time to time even organizing events where both sides of the issue will face each other in a big fight in front of the church, for instance. So Obama understood how he could win by having an election based on all this fake news, on all these comparationist theorists, complotist theorists. Mexican are rapists. Obama is from here, is from Africa, is not even American, and things like that. So in a crowded field of 17 candidates for the Republican election, he was the one who came out because he was capable to energize his base, and they would come out to support him. So let's recall the big problem on fake news in the US is the First Amendment. As you know, in Europe, we don't have such First Amendment. And here, for the European audience, a little reminder of what is freedom of speech in the US, which is very, very strongly guaranteed. And it is impossible to change that unless you have a revision of the Constitution. So Roger McNamee estimates roughly what's the budget for such asymmetric warfare. So the Russians have become experts in this asymmetric warfare. That means they have 100 times less money than the American, but they are capable to win the war by turning the gun towards the creator of that gun. So the gun in this example is a social network which was supposed to influence the people, and he could turn the gun to influence American democracy. So he estimates that roughly you need to have 100 pro hacker, which is quite a lot for 4 years. So let's say you pay those guys 250K a year, 100 times 4, you see $100 million. And you say that's a lot, but that's not so much. It's a cost of a jet fighter, so that's peanuts in terms of world predominance and fighting the American. So this we learned through the hearing that Facebook received $100,000 in ruble currency. That's very funny that they didn't take even the precaution to change that into dollar. And that pay for 3,000 paid message, which has been viewed by 300 million people, or 340 million times, because behind those powerful hackers and influencers, there were many false accounts, bots which could relay the right information at the right time. So, and when you see the conclusion, 340 million views by 126 million individuals, you have to compare that with 137 million voters in 2016. And all in all, you see that Trump was able to have more Republicans go to the poll, and Hillary lost, according to some computation, 4 million Democrats, which came out to vote for Obama, but didn't move from the seat during the 2016 election because they had been influenced by all those troll farms as a service.